bride has been accused of killing her husband. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, you're highly welcome. Do like and follow our page to get more notification of our new videos. In this video, guys, is about this young couple who just got married sometime in April 2025 in Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria. The man is a medical doctor and at the same time a soldier. The lady has been accused of killing her husband for setting him ablaze. This is the story. In every home, behind smiles and photographs, lie stories untold. Stories of love, pain, and silence. This is one of such stories. The story of a man who wore the uniform of honor and a woman who once vowed to love him forever. But when love turned bitter and silence became louder than words, their world was consumed by a single spark. What began as a quarrel between husband and wife ended in tragedy. A blazing fire that took the life of a Nigerian army officer and left behind questions that may never be answered. The evening sun had barely disappeared behind the barrack walls when the shouting began. In a military barrack, domestic quarrels were not strange. But that night, something about the raised voice of Samson Haruna and his wife carried a different weight. It was the kind of argument that tested of exhaustion and the kind that comes after holding things in for so long. Lieutenant Samson Haruna was a man of white pride. At 35, he had everything many envied: a stable career, respect, and a beautiful wife. He was not just a soldier. He was a doctor attached to the 6th Battalion of Nigerian Army, Akwa Ibom. His life from the outside looked polished and admirable. He had served in conflict zones, treated wounded soldiers, and saved lives under the most desperate conditions. His colleagues often admired him because of how calm he remained in chaos. But beneath that composure was a man who had personal battles of a home that had stopped feeling like home. His wife was equally strong-willed, living the life of a soldier's wife, often isolated, misunderstood, and struggling to find herself in a world that revolved around her husband's uniform. That evening, his wife had confronted him over a text message she found on his phone. Affectionate words from another woman. Samson had dismissed it coldly, saying she was overreacting. The argument that followed spread into shouts that echoed through the barrack walls. "You think you can do whatever you like because you wear that uniform," she screamed. "And you think this house can contain your madness?" Samson fired back, his voice sharp as a blade. At some point in her fury, she stormed out of the backyard, and Samson followed, still shouting. A petrol-filled container, one they used for the generator, was beside the veranda. That container, filled with petrol, became the cursed witness to their last fight. According to his wife, she had no intention of hurting her husband. She claimed that in the heat of the argument, Samson had struck her, and in panic she flung her arm, knocking over the container. The liquid splashed around them. She said Samson had a lighter in his hand, and it ignited. But witnesses said that they heard her scream first, then saw fire burst through the window of their living room. They said she had poured the fuel on him intentionally after shouting, "You will never hurt me again." Whichever version is true, the result was the same. Samson Haruna was engulfed in flames. His scream pierced through the barracks like a siren. Soldiers ran towards the house, kicking down the door. The sight inside was something no one ever forgot. The officer rolling on the floor, fire devouring his uniform, his skin blistering as he tried to douse himself with water. His wife stood frozen, her hands trembling, her face pale and black, I didn't mean to, she kept murmuring, as the men rushed her burning husband to the military reference section. Doctors fought desperately to save him. Ironically, some of the very medics he had trained were now struggling to keep him alive. His body was covered with burns. From the neck down, the smell of charred flesh filled the ward. Every touch, every injection drew a pain of groan. He drifted in and out of consciousness, whispering her name, sometimes with anger, sometimes with longing. When his condition worsened, he was transferred to the University Teaching Hospital, Uyo. For 2 weeks, he hovered between life and death. News of the incident spread through the military cycles and social media like wildfire. People were shocked. How could a man who had survived war die from domestic flames? Some called her a murderer, others called her a victim of abuse. Both narratives tore the public apart. While Samson lay dying, she was arrested. In her statement to the military police, she cried uncontrollably. She claimed she had suffered abuse for months, that Samson would hit her, call her names, and sometimes threaten her with his service pistol. She said that night was the breaking point. The fire she instituted was an accident. He was angry. I was scared. The petrol spilled. Before I knew it, fire was everywhere. I tried to save him, she sobbed. But the soldiers who pulled Samson from the flames gave a different account. They said she stood motionless, making no effort to help. The investigators noted burns on her hands, but said they seemed minor, perhaps from proximity, not from trying to rescue him. The Nigerian army launched an internal investigation, while the police opened a criminal file for arson and attempted murder, later upgraded it to homicide after Samson's death. On the morning of October 6, 2025, Lieutenant Samson Haruna succumbed to his injuries. The doctors confirmed what everyone feared. His organs had failed due to severe burns. When the news reached the barracks, silence fell like a heavy curtain. Even the soldiers who often boasted of their toughness went quiet. Death was no stranger in the army, but the kind born not out of battle, but of love gone wrong, was the hardest to process. The wife, still in custody, reportedly broke down completely upon hearing the news. I didn't kill him, she screamed, as police officers restrained her. He was my husband. I only wanted him to listen. But it was too late. Samson was gone. Across Nigeria, the story traded on social media. Some blamed the military culture of silence around domestic abuse. Others said no matter the provocation, setting a human being ablaze was an unforgivable act. Commenters on radio and TV stations debated endlessly. Was he murder or tragic accident? Was she a victim or a villain? Every person seemed to have an option, but no one had peace. It became a national mirror reflecting the hidden violence in many homes, the tension that simmers quietly until it explodes. The unanswered question still remains: what truly happened that night? The investigators compiled evidence, burnt remains of Samson's phones, the melted petrol container, testimonies from neighbors, both human emotions. But human emotion doesn't fit neatly into police reports. Perhaps it was months of resentment. Perhaps it was a single moment of madness. Perhaps it was fate, cruel and unforgiving. But one thing was certain: 2 lives were destroyed, one by fire, the other by guilt. In the heart of the tragedy lies a bitter truth. Anger left unchecked becomes a weapon. Silence left too long becomes poison. Samson Haruna was a soldier who survived the battlefield, but fell to the war within his home. His wife was a wife who loved deeply, but lost control in the storm of her pain. In the end, both were casualties of something larger, the unspoken wounds of love, ego, and fear that too often hide behind closed doors.